All right, well, we're just days away from the 2014 Grand Strand PD Walk to Defeat ALS for the ALS Association. So here to talk about it, we have a spokesperson, Court Heath. Thanks for joining us, Court.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us here.
Absolutely. This is a really neat walk. It's a 3-mile walk. Anyone can do it. It's free. We want to talk about ALS. Not a lot of people know what it is. And I was doing some research, Court. I found out that this is a disease that affects your nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord. People can become paralyzed right after their diagnosis, and your mother was recently diagnosed.
It's a very interesting thing. People either know exactly what they're talking about when they talk about ALS, but one we call it Lou Gehrig's disease because I think that's going to be really what people know it as. But the interesting thing about it, you can tell by the reaction, either they're like, oh yeah, or then they usually see the horror come across their face.
Oh.
What happens, and this is just going to be one situation that you may see with ALS, a person may start slurring their words. People will get the onset of around 40 to 70 years old. And then after slurring their words, they get to the point where they just can't talk really well at all. And then they get to the point where they can't talk. And then their body just gets where it starts slowing down and they can't move well. Some of the folks absolutely are 100% paralyzed and maybe they can only blink.
My goodness.
I mean, it's like an Alfred Hitchcock movie, but then it doesn't stop there. So their mind is normal. You have to realize that they can't communicate anymore. We teach people to text at some point to communicate for them. And then after that point, when they can't move, then they get to the point where they can't eat. And then sometimes they just absolutely choke to death at that point because they can't even get air.
My goodness. That's why it's so important to find a cure for this, because really I was reading there's one drug that the FDA approved, but it only modestly extends survival.
And you're exactly right. And we're talking about 1938, 1930s, 40s when Lou Gehrig was diagnosed.
Right.
And there has not been that much, research. There's been a lot of research, but they've not been able to find a cure, and that's what we're trying to do.
Not much progress, really, if you can't find a cure, but that's the whole point of the Defeat ALS Walk, and everyone, again, is invited. Let me get you those details if you want to join them. It's happening not this Saturday, but the next, the 22nd. It starts at 10. People kind of gather at 9, and again, benefits the ALS Association. How is your mom doing? Recently diagnosed, right, Court?
She was diagnosed in October, and it's just been one of those things, that you go through the shock and all the emotions, to know what's going to be coming. And the ALS Association of South Carolina has just been fantastic to us because the main thing is that I get to go to counseling myself. I get to go for a support group with other people. And what I've noticed is the people, even after their loved ones have passed, they still stay involved in it because you can tell they're still like in shock 10 years later over the experience that they've had. It's
a community, and that's another reason you should join this walk. You can learn more about ALS, about the community fighting to find a cure. And again, that's next Saturday. Court, thanks so much for sharing your story.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.